Hello and welcome to Timberdoodle's 2021 7th grade curriculum video. This is Joy, I'm Grace. We're going to walk you through what the Elite Curriculum Package contains.
First up is language arts, and probably the key component in that is Mosdos. You've asked us for a long time for literature, and this finally meets our standards. We've had it for a couple years now. It has high quality books, so the literature you're reading is worthwhile. And a wide variety. So you're going to read poems, you're going to read across the spectrum of literature. You can see nice illustrations, sturdy textbook. This is a great program. It also comes with student activity workbook. Again, pretty classic workbook pages, but approachable, doable. And teacher's editions as well. This program is what you make of it. If all you do is read this book, you've done well. This is a wonderful start. In our family, we would probably also go through the workbook because this will expound on it a little bit more, give it a little more depth, and your child won't be able to just skim through it without really thinking it through. You're going to learn more if you do the workbook. There also are quite a few writing activities and so forth worked into this book. Most of you won't need that. If you have a child who is an eager writer and needs more things to write on, go for it. Or if this is your main point of your school year is let's do as much writing as possible, great. It's all in there. Use as much as you want. Most families will find if they tried to do every single activity in this book, it would be overwhelming. You have other language arts programs you'll be doing. Don't stress over that. Use this for what it is, a brilliant anthology, and don't stress over completing every line item that you possibly could.
Absolutely. For the writing portion, we like to use the Wordsmith program because it starts out the introduction with, so you think you hate writing. So this is designed for someone who is needing a course that they can get into and they can access, and we found that to be very true for this one. It's creative writing, which if you've not emphasized creative writing at all in your program yet, you need to. Creative writing is going to work on problem-solving skills. It does a lot of real life that you really want to get your students thinking through and working on.
And it's divergent as well. It's not
absolutely
1 + 1 = 2. It is, how are you going to make this character well-rounded? How are you going to solve this problem? Think outside the box. There's a lot of things that go into creative writing that are critical thinking skills.
Yes. Your student needs to be able to do more than just fill in the blank. So this will walk you through writing start to finish. And then we also have the Easy Grammar Plus. And this looks like a huge book, but this is a really doable program. It is well laid out. This is the teacher's version is what we include because what you can do is then just put a sheet of paper, your student does it, and then they check their own work. Yes. If they got it wrong, they correct their own work. That's how we like to do it because it takes the work out of it for the teacher and it helps the student to learn to do that independent learning.
And take some responsibility. And frankly, correcting your own work, you're going to learn a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have the word roots, which I love having word roots in here because word roots are going to give you not only a little bit of a foundation for spelling and vocabulary, but it also helps you understand so much more about different words that you start understanding, oh, I bet that's based on, and I found it helpful going through EMT class to already have some of these word roots, and all of a sudden things are starting to make a little bit more sense for me as we went through anatomy and physiology and some of these medical terms that it helps to have that foundation already laid for.
Absolutely. Next up is thinking skills. Thinking skills, the backbone is going to be this, basics of critical thinking. Don't mind the inauspicious cover. This is a wonderful book. It has a lot of variety in your activities, a lot of logic. It's going to be one of those that you probably have to limit so your child doesn't blow through it all in the first month because this is just, at least I would have. This is a lot of fun right here. But it also covers a lot of critical stuff, like how do you know if that's a fact or not? How do you prove this? What's an inference? What's an opinion? Here, figure this all out. Really good stuff.
In the classic versions, we also have the Thinking Toolbox, which is from a Christian perspective. It is 35 lessons that build your reasoning skills. So again, a very important skill for students to have to understand some of the faulty reasoning and understand how to have a good argument.
Especially in this day and age, we need to learn how to think. Everybody needs to be able to learn. There's a lot of competing viewpoints. And if you don't know how to think through, that's a really good point. That's a really muddy point. This will help clarify your thinking.
This year's single player game is Diamond Quest, and this is brand new this year. It's still on its way here, and it is going to work on deductive reasoning. So this is a really great game because it has 80 challenges, so it's going to start with the easier challenges, get your student learning and figuring out if the green ones are here, then this one has to go there. And each challenge is different, so you're going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot of skills with that game.
It's also nice that it does have a working cover, so you don't lose pieces.
Yes.
That will hold it together. It's very nice. For the multiplayer game, we have Laser Chess. This is a very complex game. It's perfect for developing that upper level strategy. You put your pieces in place, you fire a laser, and remove pieces according to what it hits. You have a lot of spatial learning going on, as well as strategy and advanced thinking. So this is a pretty big hit for this age.
For math this year, we have the Math You See Pre-Algebra. If you've not already done a placement test for your student, we highly recommend that you go online and do the placement test because different math programs are going to set the levels just a little bit differently, and we want to make sure that you're getting the right level for your student. So it's easy to go online, do that, and then if you need to customize your kit, just go on there and do that. By default, it's going to be Pre-Algebra. Includes all the manipulatives, the decimal inserts, the integer block kit, and then the DVD. So what we love about this program is that it's got a lot of the hands-on components, so your tactile kid can get in there and really start to feel and see these concepts played out. And then the DVD is going to help you as the instructor in case this is something that it's been a few years since you've hit, but your student can watch these along with you and really learn from them and then jump in and do their lessons.
It's really designed to need minimal parent help at this age. We would, in our family, tend to turn over most of the instructional materials to the student, allow them to proceed at their own pace and work through issues as they come up. But the Math You See is excellent about providing support if you do run into issues that are challenging, but I don't think you'll need that. They do a good job of covering all their bases. One thing to note on this is that you do see in here, they have a number of worksheets for each lesson. Some parents don't realize this. Every child does not need to do every worksheet. They include extra worksheets for the children who really need that repetition to grasp the skill. Most students will you'll pick and choose and tell them, I want you to do worksheets A, C, and work it out with your child. And there's some hints in the handbook as to how to discern which ones are most critical. But if you try to do every page in this book, most students will find that an unnecessary repetition, which becomes quite tedious. And if instead you say, this is what I need you to do, if you're getting a set, let's agree, if you're getting this % accurate, you can move on. And if you're not, do the next worksheet. And that can be a very effective way without bogging them down in something that they really did already grasp.
Perfect.
And then just for fun this year, we have the extreme dot to dot around the world. These are wonderful dot to dots. A lot of fun. This can be the kind of thing that is a great stress reliever for your child, so that they can need to decompress, and we've all seen that this year. This can really help with that. You can put on an audiobook, do your dot to dots. They're a lot of fun.
It also builds concentration and mapping at the same time, so it's a great educational and relaxing program.
True.
All right, let's look at what's included in history. So in the classic version, we have the Mystery of History, which is history from a Christian biblical perspective from creation to the resurrection. This is a phenomenal program, very easy to engage in. A lot of, it incorporates the biblical stories along with what was happening like in other areas. So it gives you just a broader perspective of history. Fun to read just as a textbook if that's all you want to do. But then if you want to go deeper with it, it includes a downloadable companion guide, activities you can do. You can do this as a whole family. So it's a really wonderful history program.
In the non-religious kit, we have World History Detective. So that's going to have a section that your child reads. You see the paragraphs are all marked here, and there's a little illustration and so forth. And then they have you go through and really think about what you read. And they, more than just read and regurgitate, they want you to think about, was that a fact? Did you infer that? How did you come up with, what sentence best supports your answer here? And we all know that history is always taught from a perspective. And it is very helpful for your child to be thinking that through from this level, to be thinking through, I learned this, but what did I infer and what's actually fact here? And putting that all together is a wonderful life skill to be able to say, hey, I learned this about them, but which parts of that, how do you sort that in your own mind? That's where this guy comes in.
We also have the Bear Grylls Survival Camp, which is kind of a collage of geography, history, and survival skills. And this is a great jumping off point if you want to have some story prompts for creative writing. You can pick a survival skill, pick a situation, write a story around that, and also have these techniques to get out of that situation. So an excellent, really fun book to go through.
And then over in science, in your classic kit, we have new this year, Science in the Atomic Age. This is a continuation of the Berean Science series, a favorite for many reasons. It's taught from a creationist perspective, and they do just a beautiful job. You can see all the pictures and stuff. They also do a nice job of, there are so many experiments in here, and the experiments are designed to really help you master the material. So if you buy the Elite kit, it'll also include a lab kit that includes almost all the materials you need. It doesn't have the measuring cups, or there's some things missing, but it will cover most of your experiments if you are one who says, yeah, maybe household ingredients, but I would really like to not have to go hunting for those. Also includes a student workbook so that your child can write down as they go. Notebooking is a very proven technique for actually mastering material, and that's where this comes in, is to actually take what you read here and put it to paper and master the material. So that all works together very beautifully there. Very rich in experiments, very hands-on, a wonderful approach. For your non-religious kit, you have Building Blocks of Science. Again, this is a good textbook. Lots of illustrations, lots going on in here. It covers a wide variety of subjects at age-appropriate level and breaks it down into 22 chapters. And you'll go through, we figure if you go through one a week, that leaves you a lot of extra time to say, hey, we really want to dive deep on the experiments. Let's take 2 weeks on this lesson. So that works really well for that. Includes a teacher's manual and lab notebook. Again, this is using the notebooking approach so that your child will go through and fill out what they just learned, draw it or write it or whatever the case may be, log their experiments here. Very helpful. Your kit also includes digital access to a couple of additional files. So if you have a child who really thrives on like those paper assembly type stuff or whatever, there's some extra files you can access digitally. Just make sure you follow the emailed instructions that we sent you, and you'll have access to those as well. And then also in science, you have Batman Science. So this is kind of the real world look at, hey, so you see this cool gadget in Batman. What are the real physics behind that? How does this actually work? What would the real life be of that type of technology? So for a child for whom science is a little bit tedious or lacks that punch, this will help
pull
with
them in.
that. Yes. And also it's really good for those kids who are, sometimes you have reluctant readers even at this age level, and this often will escape that classification because everybody wants to read the science behind wingsuit flying or whatever the case may be. All right, so next we're going to look at the STEM component of 7th grade. This is one of the items that we are really excited about adding this year. Intro to Filmmaking. Humans are wired for stories, and there are many ways to tell stories. They're not always pen to paper. This will allow your child to tell stories through film, and this is an online course with a workbook that you're going to go through, and you're going to fill out. Your student will fill this out as they go through them. Things from basic things you should know about making a film to they'll have you watch some films and critique them and what things stand out and those kinds of things. A lot of worksheets and so forth. So it's a very complete program, and by the end of it, your student will be ready to make their own short film, which they can then submit for a contest. It's a high school credit. So for those of you who are looking forward towards high school, that's something to keep in mind. Keep a record of this because that can work into your transcript. But it also is just very appropriate for this age with cell phone cameras being so ubiquitous now. It's a common thing for people to have access to some pretty great technology. And now they can have some structure and how to formulate into a story. So that's Intro to Filmmaking, fantastic edition. Very excited to offer that. Fischertechnik is the other part of your STEM this year, and that is the set here. If you just look at this model for a second, you can see where it has a lot of moving parts, much like a real life crane would. That's because this set was specifically designed for engineers that needed a way to be able to build their models before they actually built the real crane. And so these are true to scale. They are top quality, very well done. In that same line, they're also very specific in what they do. So you're going to have your students going to do a lot of attention to detail, because if you use the wrong piece, that's not going to work. So you'll have to take it apart and do it again. But attention to detail is a really critical skill in life. Virtually in any field you are employed in, from doctors to
parenting.
Yes, you need that attention to detail. So this really is a fantastic program. So it makes 30 models. You'll have the instructions for that in here. Also available online, if you'd like additional resources, are some of the why does this work this way? Why is this a simple machine? How does this concept apply? You'll find that online through their website. But again, fantastic product. Designed for real engineers. This is something we grew up with. It's been around. It's fantastic.
All right, let's take a look at art. So in art, the main component is going to be Simply Draw. And we love this program because it takes drawing and makes it accessible for all of us, even those of us who despair of ever learning how to draw. This program goes step by step, and he uses humor, so we all learn better while we're laughing. And this program is just going to really help you get into learning the different techniques, concept upon concept, and teaching you how to draw. And
it's designed to be put into a 3-ring notebook.
Designed to put in a 3-ring notebook. It also has videos that go along with it for additional instruction. Very thorough program. You'll love getting into that one.
Yes.
We also have the Year of Art. So we love that this, at the end of the year, you're going to come out with kind of a memento, a journal of sorts. But it's also really important for artists to be doing something artistic every day. And this is going to give you that format and give you a number of different things to do. Write your name in pen in this space over and over to fill it up. Add your favorite colors to the white spaces left, or use colored pencils to fill in the picture. Or your pet bird has escaped to the moon. Draw it in its new home. So a number of different prompts and ideas that will get you doing different things that maybe you wouldn't normally be doing, and will broaden your artistic abilities.
And if you would prefer to only do this on school days, in the handbook, we have the idea that you could just pick and choose from these. So, pick 2 per page or pick 3 per page and do those ones that most stand out to your student. You don't need to complete every single activity for this book to be very valuable.
Absolutely. We also have the wool felting kit. So we are very excited to be adding wool felting to the students' selections this year. It's a different skill, a different art medium. And again, you've got that learning a new skill, which is so important to be able to watch. The videos are very well laid out on here's how you do this step by step. So you end up with a new skill, but you also have the fun of this
gorgeous art.
It's gorgeous art, and it's peaceful to be creating something this serene. So it comes with everything you need. It's got the felting mat, and then it also includes some finger guards, because you are working with these needles to be doing this. So it's a great set for that.
Somewhat unique art skill. It's just helpful to have a more well-rounded artist.
Absolutely. And something that you can gift to someone or hang up on the wall and enjoy. Let's look at teaching helps. Do you want to tell us about the test prep?
So most students are going to need to test at probably every year, at least at some points during their life. And regardless of what your state requires, we would highly encourage you to work through this test this year, because test taking skills are necessary. Whether you are becoming an EMT or you are passing your bar exam, you need to know how to take a test. So if for no other reason, do that. This is specifically designed to encompass what you need to know in grade 7. So if your state requires a 7th grade test at the end of the year, like ours does, then you would take this in preparation for your actual test. So this will walk you through common test problems, common vocabulary, multiple choice format. All the things that you would expect to see on your state test are covered here. It's friendly, it's colorful. What it lets you do is to see, oh, you know what? We've never really talked about multiple choice tests and how to get that right dot dark enough on the paper. Great, talk about it now. Don't find that out after their test. Or, you know what? We haven't used the terms for dividing fractions recently. Let's cover that again so it's fresh in your mind before we go to test. So that's what this guy's for.
Excellent. We also have the Mix by Me glow in the dark thinking putty. So this lets your student create their own choice of color combinations and create their own thinking putty. Basically, it's a fidget toy for those of us who don't sit still well and think. This lets us move while we're listening or reading or whatever it is that we're trying to work out a math problem. It gives us an outlet for our energy and helps us think better. Lastly is the handbook. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and ours is currently at the printer, so I don't have one in hand yet, but it covers each of these items, all that we've said here and more, teaching tips, additional resources, things like that, sample schedules, so you can see here's an example of a weekly schedule. We do gravitate towards a weekly schedule because it makes your life so much easier as a teacher. If you know, hey, we are going to get through 3 art things this week, then you don't have to stress over, but it's already Wednesday and we said we were going to do that Tuesday, and how are we ever? You're okay. It's going to be fine. Just keep working through your list and don't obsess over the minutia, and you'll find that it actually is a lot more fun when you can have a relaxed approach. And then at the end of the handbook is the reading challenge. The reading challenge has been greatly revised this year. You'll find our suggestions for 7th through 12th grade all in the same challenge, so that you have a wide range of options to pick from. There's close to 1,000 books. I think there's 900 and some in the Nonreligious and just over 1,000 in the classic, that will let you pick a wide variety of options to get your child reading a depth of literature that will be helpful for them. So you loop through it so that you cover a lot of topics with some structure, but it's also fun too, you know. So you're going to read a classic book, but you have a lot of choices as to what that classic book might look like. Or you're going to read a book on careers. Well, there's a lot of careers out there. Maybe you'll pick a novel featuring a career, or maybe you'll pick a very structured book on this is what it looks like to do this career. There is so much flexibility there, but we also know if you don't set out with a purpose to incorporate a lot of reading, it doesn't happen necessarily intuitively. So you really want to plan that into your life and then enjoy it. There's a lot of fun.
The handbook is also going to give you access to our online scheduler, which will let you customize your weekly schedule or set it up as a daily schedule if you do prefer that method. But it also will let you, if you want to save some of your art stuff for summer, or you want to add in a weekly activity that you're doing as a family, it lets you do all that online, take an item out, add items in, make it be your schedule, and then print that out for your weekly schedule. So very flexible program, a lot of fun, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we do, and thank you so much for joining us.